Hello, everyone. My name is April Vasquez, and today I'll be presenting on the evolution and diversification of mammals. The focus of this talk is to explore how mammals have diversified into a wide variety of forms and ecological roles we see today. We'll look at this question by examining the deep evolutionary timescales of mammals, their distribution across the globe, and their ecological and morphological innovations that allowed them to thrive. Along the way, I'll reference four important studies: Springer 2017, Gross-Nickell 2019, and two papers by Pym from 2019 and 2021 that will provide insight into these processes. The guiding question for this presentation is, how did mammals diversify into the wide variety of forms and ecological roles that we see today? To address this, I'll walk through three themes. First, the axis of mammalian evolution, such as body size, feeding strategies, and locomotion. Second, the global distribution of mammals and how geographic factors shape their diversification. And third, the ecological and morphological innovations that gave mammals their adaptive age. By layering these perspectives, we'll be able to appreciate how extinction events, ecological opportunities, and functional traits all interacted to shape mammalian diversity. To give a little bit more of an introduction, mammals first appeared in the late Triassic, around 210 million years ago, from synapsid ancestors, sometimes called the mammal-like reptiles. Today, there are about 6,500 living species, ranging from tiny shrews to massive elephants and whales. Mammals are characterized by a unique set of traits. They have hair or fur for insulation. They are endothermic or warm-blooded. They produce milk through mammary glands, and they have differentiated teeth, such as incisors, canines, premolars, and molars that support specialized diets. Another hallmark feature is their three middle ear bones, which evolved from jaw elements and give mammals highly sensitive hearing. Modern mammals are divided into three major groups: monotremes, like the platypus and echidna that lay eggs; marsupials, like kangaroos and possums; and placental mammals, which carry offspring to a more advanced stage of development in the wound end. This basic framework sets the stage for their evolutionary success. Here, both these figures, situates mammals in the tree of life. You can see their divergence from reptilian lineages and branching into today's clades. The placement highlights how mammals are just one part of the vertebrate evolutionary story, but one that radiated significantly after the age of dinosaurs. The phylogeny reminds us that diversification is not just about survival, but about the ability to innovate and adapt to changing ecological landscapes. One of the most striking axes of mammalian evolution is body size. Mammals span six orders of magnitude in mass, from the 2-gram bumblebee bat to the 150-ton blue whale, the largest animal. This variation shapes metabolic rates, lifespans, and ecological roles. Another axis is feeding strategies, which are supported by specialized dentition. Herbivores like ungulates evolved grinding molars. Carnivores developed slicing carnassials, and rodents possess gnawing incisors. These dental differences enabled mammals to exploit niches, from grazing on grasses to eating meat, insects, and even blood or nectar. And finally, reproduction is another fundamental axis. Monotremes are egg-laying and retain primitive traits. Marsupials give birth to underdeveloped young that complete growth in a pouch, and placentals sustain embryos longer with a placenta. These reproductive strategies influence dispersal and survival, with placentals ultimately becoming the most diverse. Mammals also diversified through changes in locomotion. The postcranial skeleton was highly flexible, giving rise to adaptations for almost every environment. Primates evolved grasping hands and feet for arboreal living, and bats are the only mammals with powered flight, supported by elongated digits forming wings. Cetaceans returned to the water, streamlining their skeletons for swimming, while ungulates developed long limbs and hooves for cursory running across, open landscapes, the environment. Even subterranean mammals like moles evolved powerful forelimbs for digging. Sensory evolutions were equally critical. Early mammals were nocturnal, which drove the evolution of keen hearing and smell. Later, sensory specializations allowed mammals to expand. Bats developed echolocation, whales adapted to underwater hearing, and primates evolved tri- trichromatic vision. Enlarged brains enabled problem solving, memory, and sociality, and together, locomotor and sensory traits open new niches and fueled adaptive radiations. Mammals are globally distributed, found on every continent and nearly every ecosystem, from deserts to oceans to polar regions. This spread was shaped by deep Earth history, continental drift separated lineages, and promoted endism. And Afrotheria, I apologize, diversified in Africa, while Xenotheria evolved in isolation in South America. Leucotheria and Eurocondylaris, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, radiated across northern continents. Species richness is uneven, but tropical forests such as Amazon and Congo harbor the great diversity due to stable climates and abundant resources. Islands like, for example, Madagascar are also hotspots with endemic lineages such as lemurs, etc. But overall, this uneven distribution shows how geography and ecology combined to shape mammalian diversification. Let's zoom in on the four major placental clades. Afrotheria includes elephants, manatees, hyraxes, and aardvarks, groups with African origins. Xenotheria, native to South America, includes armadillos, sloths, and anteaters, all with distinctive skeletal traits. Leucotheria is the most morphological diverse, which includes bats, carnivores, whales, and ungulates. The last group, I still cannot pronounce that properly, but it is Euchontorgularis, includes rodents, primates, rabbits, and tree shrews, making it the most species-rich clade, especially rodents. These clades reflect how continental isolation, followed by later dispersal, produced regional diversity that still structures mammal lineages today. One of the most important innovations in mammalian history was dental specialization. Unlike reptiles, which typically have hormodont teeth, mammals evolved heterodonty, where teeth differ in form and function. Incisors, I apologize, in incisors slice, canines pierce, and premolars shear and molars grind. This allowed mammals to exploit a wide variety range of diets. Rodents gnaw seeds and wood, and carnivores obviously slice flesh, and ungulates grind grasses. Changes in jaw mechanics, such as development of a secondary palate, supported chewing efficiency, and these adaptations facilitated dietary expansion and ecological dominance, with mammals taking on roles as grazers, predators, seed dispensers, and pollinators. Locomotion is another domain where mammals innovated extensively. The flexibility of the mammalian limb skeleton enabled adaptation to almost every mode of life. Arboreal species developed grasping hands, prehensile tails, and flexible joints. Gliders, such as flying squirrels, evolved membranes that extend between limb or controlled aerial movement. Aquatic mammals like whales and seals transformed forelimbs into flippers and lost or reduced hind limbs, and terrestrial runners like the antelope elongated their distal limb segments to cover ground effectively. These locomotor specializations allowed mammals to radiate into the sea, the skies, underground, treetops, highlighting the adaptability of the mammalian body plan. Sensory and neurological changes were also central to the mammalian success. Early mammals were nocturnal, which favored heightened smell and hearing, and large olfactory bulbs and sensitive middle ears allowed them to survive into a dinosaur-dominated world. But later, new sensory specializations emerged. Bats evolved sophisticated echolocation. Cetaceans adapted to sonar communication and underwater hearing. Primates shifted towards reliance on vision, developing trichromatic color vision and depth perception to navigate arboreal habitats. Alongside these sensory traits, mammals evolved relatively large brains, which supported problem solving, memory, social behavior, and learning. Overall, these innovations enabled mammals to exploit complex ecological niches and interact in more sophisticated ways with their environment. To tie together the four studies, Springer 2017 provided a more molecular time tree that clarified the timing of placental diversification, showing most major groups radiated after the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction. Gross-Nickell 2019 highlighted the functional side, showing how innovation in dentition and postcranial skeletons underpinned ecological expansion. The first Upham article from 2019 produced a comprehensive phylogeny covering nearly 6,000 mammal species, revealing uneven diversification rates and linking clade radiations to geography. And finally, the last article, again from Upham from 2021, combined fossil and molecular data, demonstrating how both evidence streams are necessary for reconstructing diversification history. Overall, these studies altogether show that mammalian diversity arose from the interplay of extinction events, ecological opportunities, geographic isolation, and key innovations. In conclusion, mammals evolved more than 200 million years ago and survived one of the planet's greatest and mass extinctions. Their success was not inevitable. It depended on a series of innovations, including specialized dentition, flexible locomotion, and advanced sensory systems. Geography and climate shaped where mammals diversified, while fossils and molecular data together reveal the timing and pattern of the diversification. The result is the extraordinary variety of mammals that we today see, filling roles as predators, grazers, pollinators, seed dispensers, and more. Studying their history helps us understand not only the past, but also how modern mammals might respond to ongoing environmental change. Thank you for your attention. I'd be glad to take any questions and answer them below in the discussion.